Hello everyone, we're back with another battle with more Master of Moloch. This time I am coming in with a purely themed Kurgan list, because I used to love doing these type of things on the tabletop, so why not do that here? Where unit-wise, we've got ourselves a Marauder Chieftain, 2 spellcasters, each of them on their respective mounts. We've got chariots, we've got horses, then a lot of horsemen. So we've got 3 of the new Kurgan horsemen with additional hand weapons, 3 of the Kurgan horsemen with great weapons, 2 units of Marauder chariots, 2 units of Marauder horsemen with throwing axes, a unit of poison hounds, mostly because I had a little bit of money to spare, a Dreadmore, which is hidden away. This is the benefit of that unit. It can go straight up and just not be attacked until it just submerges. And finally a Chimera, because I'm really liking the Chimeras. There's nothing more than just that. And true to myself as per usual, I am flanking as much as possible with all my Kurgans. Since they've all got Vanguard, I might as well take advantage of that. We are coming in and surrounding the High Elves, who have a pretty decent army list as their own. So we've got a spellcaster with the Law of Shadows, Prince Imric, 3 of the new Ship's Company, 5 Lothan Sea Guard with shields, 2 Shadow Warriors, 2 units of Valyrian Reavers, and of course a Dragon. Once again, kind of themed with the idea of army stylings of core, rare, and special. So going what you would see on the tabletop. And yeah, this is going to be a pretty interesting fight because my plan here is to surround and just hold him down. He's got a lot of stuff that can deal with me. He's got a lot of spearmen, and those are going to hurt my horses quite a lot. But there's only so much that can be done, especially when we're dealing with such heavy hitters. The High Elves roster is always quite good, and it's just better now, especially since you've got some really good chaff there. The Ship's Company aren't that bad of the unit. So plan right now is to just slam my way through. He is going to try and distract me with the Reavers, and a bit of a problem on my part there, where I went straight for the Reavers non-stop. But I feel like if I get rid of the stuff that's actually going to be causing me problems, you know, shooting me unrestricted, it might work out in my favor. The rest of the stuff is just basically surrounding. I'm trying to get there with even the Dreadmore in the very middle, and this is a tactic that I figured would be able to work, mostly because the Kurgans themselves, the Kurgan horsemen, are really much better than I anticipated, and this is where I discovered on how good they can actually be. So charging straight in, there is a lot of damage to be done there, but unfortunately the dragon is coming straight for me. There's not much you can do when a dragon really hits you, and yeah, I mean, it's how I learn. A lot of my Kurgan warriors are broken at that point, which isn't great, but it's more of the case of I am surrounding, I am getting from every side possible. The Reavers are basically done, which was my biggest problem, and I'm going to try and aim for as many of the characters or single entity units as I can. The Dragon getting really good damage there with a Pit of Shades coming in shortly after. Unfortunately, I keep forgetting that Pit of Shades can be quite stationary and can do a lot of damage. But hey, we learn from these mistakes and we carry on. These troopers will come back in no time. Thankfully, their leadership is actually pretty decent. Surprising. But yeah, at this point, I'm just trying to hit whatever I can and slow them down. The Reavers, mostly all gone. I am going to send some stuff just to deal with them. But Imric is now my biggest target alongside that dragon. I have no range. The Dreadmore itself, kind of lackluster, I'm not going to lie. It's probably the one unit that hasn't really performed well for me at all. When it'll come up, it'll do some damage, but I don't notice it being a bit of a heavy hitter. Well, a hitter at all. My saving grace so far has been Spirit Leech being able to really take down Imric as much as possible, whilst most of his archers are now hitting me with his spears, doing big damage to my horsemen, but it's either hold them down or let them shoot me, and I really don't want that. Ship's Company have been performing rather well, in all honesty, even throughout my own campaigns. They're chaff units, but they're really not that bad. Elves obviously going to have those elven reflexes. I should have probably cycle charged more, but I think at this point, holding down your enemy line and stopping them from shooting is going to be the best thing, whilst you take out their lord and you do a really big leadership hit. The dragon is flying around a lot, and it did slap down my Chimera a bit. And I think that's a pretty smart thing to do, because the Dreadmore is doing nothing. He's realized that we were talking and just kind of trash talking each other as we were playing, friendly of course. The Dreadmore was just not a priority for him, and I feel like it's not going to be a priority for a lot of players. Despite the fact that it can do some interesting stuff, I have yet to see its pure potential. I mean, at this point, it's not too much of a problem because Imrik is basically down. His spellcaster is going to be going down at some point. The fire damage on the Chimera is fantastic with the magic missile. It can do a lot of damage if you can really hit the target without too much of an issue, which I think is one of the things that might get nerfed in the future because its damage output is closer to that of a dragon, I'd say. But with Imrik down and the spellcaster being held down a little bit, it's time to take out the dragon. Going over through the map, it's mostly just spread, but the High Elves have taken very heavy damage. So have my dudes, like a lot of my horsemen have died, but they are holding on to dear life, just constantly hitting, which is a really good way of showing that they are a little bit better. The rage mechanic coming in and being very, very useful over for Norskins. It's definitely going to be a lot more noticeable when you start jumping into campaign where a lot of your troopers are just going to be hitting a lot harder. Norsca has a lot more staying power. Sure, it's still Chaos Light, but they are going to be a bit better than they were before, which I think is quite important. As the roster itself was incredibly weak, and really you had to just max out on as many mammoths as possible, I feel like I'm running armies now and not just focusing on mammoths, mammoths, and mammoths. Bearmen are quite good too, and there will be a video focusing around them later on. Luckily for me, however, most of the elves have broken at this point. There's not really much that they can do once most of the units are breaking and hitting all the others. The leadership hit is coming in very hard and fast. It's just the dragon now that needs to be dealt with a certain amount of damage to be done, just to make sure that he completely breaks and goes. The elves did fight very, very well. Moloch is always a fun person to play against. It's just the swarm was coming in, and I think the benefit also comes from the fact that the Dreadmore remained largely untouched, same as the characters were just doing their business from far away, mostly just hitting with a Spirit Leech every now and then. It's really hard to not to call that like a goated spell. Cheap, effective, very useful in circumstances like this. No matter what comes at me, another Pit of Shades could do well. And it did take out my Warhounds quite a bit. I did notice that despite the fact that my chariots were in there, they weren't taking a lot of damage. I know it's supposed to do better against multi-entity, but you do imagine a little bit more damage on stuff like 4-entity chariots, right? But we have victory for the Kurgan warband versus the Lothan Sea Patrol. I think a lot of the heavy lifting was done by the Kurgans themselves. All the Kurgan horsemen got a lot of kills, with the characters supporting quite heavily thanks to Spirit Leech. Normal Marauder horsemen doing quite okay too. Obviously this is still very early into early access, and I am still not too sure how to use the Dreadmore. Chimera, perfect, it's become like one of my favourite monsters so far, but I need to find the proper use for the Dreadmore. The Elves, on the other hand, did alright, you know, they didn't really do too badly. A lot of good kills on the Lothan Sea Guard. Shadow Warriors didn't do much, generally they're quite good, but I made sure to stop them as fast as possible. And obviously the Spellcaster providing tremendous amounts of support there, doing a lot of damage to my own dudes. A lot of my horsemen basically died because of the Spellcaster and a few good hits from the Dragon. But let me know what you guys think about this army. I like the meme list, so I like the idea of theming around all the horsemen. It's something that I want to do on campaign too, like just field a bunch of Kurgans when playing a sale when I do my live streams on that. So yeah, have a great day everyone, and I'll see you all again very, very soon. A lot more battles to come.